Hello, welcome back to the We Are City channel. Today we're doing a little one of our live videos again, discussing things with Manchester City. And today's discussion, I thought is about time it happened, is about Ederson. Just before we get into Ederson, I just want to let you guys know, if you are live, watching it live anyway and not watching it afterwards, in the comments down below, we've got Ashton here, we've got Jack here, NKB as well, that Kevin De Bruyne and Aymeric Laporte are both out of Manchester City's Champions League squad for RB Leipzig. Both are injured, it looks like. So no Laporte, no De Bruyne. They're both injured. Stone's still out injured, which was expected. But no De Bruyne, no Laporte. So that's a bit of a big one that's come out just before I came live. So I thought I'd mention that. I want to talk about Ederson today and whether Ederson should start in the game against RB Leipzig. Now, 67% of you guys so far have voted that Stefan Ortega should start. And I want to mention why I'm doing this video. Firstly, a while back, I saw some stats about goalkeepers around Europe and how they were performing in terms of passing the ball, saving the ball, how many points they've saved for their team and so on. And immediately when I saw these stats and these graphs that we're going to look at today, I panicked and I looked at them in a little bit of shock that I couldn't believe my eyes what I was seeing and where Ederson was on these graphs. And that really worried me. That really worried me. And I saved the stats and I saved the graphs on my phone. I thought, this is something maybe to talk about on the channel, but I don't want to do it right now. I don't want to sort of put a pressure on Ederson or sort of get a player down. You know, City weren't doing so well at the time. I don't want to put a negative on the team already. But City have started to pick up. Yes, they drew at Nottingham Forest. And then I saw a stat after the Forest game, which was in our last 4 fixtures that we've played, the first shot on target has gone in. And that worried me again. And I thought, listen, maybe it's about time we have the conversation about Ederson now, because it's been going on for a long while. Now, today I'm not going to bring into stats Ortega, so yes, Stefan Ortega would be the man to start ahead of Ederson, but I'm not here to talk about Stefan Ortega today particularly. I'm going to talk about Ederson, his performances. So not about Ortega. I know Ortega's in the vote in the live chat, but we're not here to talk about Ortega's stats. We're here to talk about purely Ederson's stats and some shocking statistics that I've seen that I think will worry you guys as well. Jill's there. He's asking, is Kevin De Bruyne going to play in the Champions League tomorrow? He's not. Kevin De Bruyne is not in the squad. He's injured. Neither is Aymeric Laporte and neither is John Stones. That is confirmed from Manchester City. And Muric made football for Ederson, says Ashton. Well, let's have a look at these stats. I'm going to pull these stats up here and we'll start firstly with passing stats, because that is something that is pretty important, isn't it? Which is passing stats. So as you can see, it should be above me right now. You'll see these passing stats. Hopefully they're large enough on the screen for you guys. So this little graph here, which is split into a cross, and you've got average pass length versus passes attempted. So the average pass length is up the left-hand side. So the lower down the club logo is of that goalkeeper, that's the shorter they pass the ball. And the higher they're up, that is the more lengthy pass they make, the longer the pass they make. And then passes attempted is along the bottom, passes attempted per 90. So that is this way. So if you downwards, you make shorter passes. If you're upwards, you make longer passes. Then if you're this side, then you make, say you're in the top right-hand corner, that is someone who makes a lot of long passes. Someone in the bottom right-hand corner makes a lot of short passes, as you can see from that, because we need to talk about Ederson and his passing. So we'll start off with someone on the really far left-hand side in the bottom left-hand corner. So this is goalkeepers who pass very, very short. They only do short passes and don't do many of them. And they are, think of the players that are on there. Jean-Louis Donnarumma of Paris Saint-Germain. So he makes a lot of short passes in the game and he doesn't do many of them. And Alex Meret makes many short passes for Napoli but doesn't do many of them. So you're talking about goalkeepers that are involved in the build-up. They play short passes but not really involved in the build-up at all. You know, they're not a player that maybe, they're not a Manchester City type goalkeeper. So you see the players in there. There's a Bournemouth keeper in there. Chelsea's keeper, I think Edouard Mendy is in there as well. They're the sort of goalkeepers Manchester City wouldn't be looking at. And then if you look on the left-hand side, but the top, you see like Getafe's keeper or Cadiz keeper, Ledesma, people like that, Bournemouth's keeper, Travers, Leipzig's keeper. They are goalkeepers, or Jan Oblak is in there as well, goalkeepers that play long balls, but not often per game either. So they tend to play more long passes than short passes, but not per game. Then we'll go all the way to the far right-hand side. To the far right-hand bottom hand of the screen, you can see Jan Sommer, who's a mile away from everyone else, an absolute mile away. And it says on here, you can see why Bayern chose to go for Jan Sommer. He's now at Bayern Munich to replace Neuer because he's proven in the league. He's a solid stopper, but also he's very, very active in the build-up. Jan Sommer, per 90 minutes, plays a lot of short passes and helps his team build up from the back. And Manuel Neuer is over here as well. If you look a bit further on, Manuel Neuer, Oliver Baumann is in there as well. Then if you look at the top side, so the players at the top there who play a lot of long balls per game. So you've got Bochum's Manuel Reimann there. You've got Vanja Milinkovic-Savic of Torino. And one that has been picked out is David Raya of Brentford. If you remember when City played Brentford at home, David Raya put those long balls up to Ivan Toney pretty much all game. And City really struggled with that, didn't they? City really struggled with that. And it mentions here that David Raya would be a solid, cheap option for maybe Manchester United if he looks to replace David De Gea. He's proactive off his line. He's an able shot stopper. And the biggest upgrade you see is his ability on the ball. He's a very good long passer. Now, Ederson, he plays a lot of short and a lot of long passes. So you expect him to really be in between, but probably quite far on, maybe in the Jan Sommer territory. Ederson is not. Ederson is marginally, if you can see the City logo, just over the halfway point. You can see there's an Inter Milan, Andre Onana and Simir Handanovic. They actually play more passes per game than Ederson. Borussia Dortmund's keeper Kerbal plays more passes per game. Barcelona's keeper Ter Stegen plays more passes per game. So Ederson, in terms of passing and how many passes, how much he's involved in the Manchester City build-up, what I'm trying to say is Ederson's involved in the build-up a lot, but not to the extent that we see goalkeepers like Jan Sommer, not we see goalkeepers like David Raya, how important they are to their teams in Brentford and Bayern Munich or Borussia Mönchengladbach, very different teams. But they show goalkeepers that are really heavily involved in the build-up, and Ederson is that, but not to the extent we expect him to be. He's in around sort of Yacine Bounou territory, Thibaut Courtois, Kepa Arrizabalaga, Alisson. He's only using the build-up as much as you'd see from a usual top side. So it's not like he's so involved in the build-up that no one else could play that position for Manchester City. Yes, he plays risky passes at times that not all goalkeepers could do. I mean, if you put David De Gea in Manchester City side, he might struggle. But what I'm saying is, Ederson, in terms of passing, isn't this massively heavily involved player. Other players could do that. For example, Stefan Ortega, who we know is good with his feet. Now comes on to the really shocking statistics, guys. Now, I don't want to turn everyone against Ederson. I don't want to start the Ederson out brigade. I can see that NKB says that, you know, starting goalkeeper should be Ortega. Nam says, what about Emi Martinez? You know, should he be an option for Manchester City? I think he's obviously quite good with his feet, Emi Martinez. He doesn't actually show pretty well in these stats, to be honest with you. But Emi Martinez is an option for Manchester City. I don't think City will make I don't think City will make any move for a goalkeeper in summer. I think we've got Ortega and Ederson. If Ederson doesn't play well, City will start Ortega. There's too many areas of City's team that they need to improve on in the summer. Too many areas where City are going to have to spend big on. And I think a goalkeeper, maybe next summer, Manchester City might look at that. Let's get on to the shocking stats now. The stats which will, if you're in the Ederson in brigade, you might look at this. And I was in the Ederson in brigade. I thought, or the group, I thought, you know what, Ederson, he brings a lot to Manchester City. When I saw these passing stats and thought, well, he's not bringing so much passing stats in terms of how involved he's in the build-up. We've seen other goalkeepers around Europe, Kobel, Onana, Handanovic, Bauman. Lots of goalkeepers can do what Ederson do in terms of passing. These stats now in terms of shot stopping are, in my mind, incredibly shocking. Incredibly shocking. So this is the first graphic I'm going to show you right now in terms of that. This is shots faced on target versus save percentage. So again, I'll explain it in the terms of it's a cross. On the left-hand side, as you look at it, the goalkeepers that are sort of in this area, they don't save many shots. So anyone on the left-hand side of your screen, they don't save many shots. Anyone on the right-hand side of your screen, they save a lot of shots, but they still split into two categories. The bottom side, so you split it into sort of four. Anyone below doesn't face many shots per game. So their defence, they've got a very good, strong defence in front of them. Anyone above, they face lots of shots per game, and you'd say their defence isn't so good. So we'll talk about it starting from the right-hand side. For example, Jan Sommer on there again. Jan Sommer, the furthest top right-hand corner. Jan Sommer faces a lot of shots per game, and his save percentage is pretty good considering that. Yep, he makes a lot of saves from a lot of shots on him. Then if you look at someone like maybe Marc-Andre ter Stegen, who is by far, I mean, he's got an 88% save rating here. The Barcelona defence is fantastic. Nick Pope's in there. Pau Lopez is in there as well. Those three goalkeepers have a really good defence in front of them. They don't concede any shots per game. And when they do concede a shot, when they are tested, they make the save. So Pau Lopez, Nick Pope and Marc-Andre ter Stegen make lots of saves and have lots of shots on them, okay? So I'm hoping you guys are understanding this. Other players in there that are sort of in the middle is Kepa Arrizabalaga, Pepe Reina, Manuel Neuer, Yassine Bounou. Is more in the middle, actually. A keeper that people talk about. Ramsdale's more in the middle. Then we go to the left-hand side of the graph. Anyone at the top has a lot of shots on them and has a really bad save percentage. They don't save much. Mark Travers of Bournemouth, he seems like a very poor goalkeeper. So lots of shots on Mark Travers as a Bournemouth keeper, and he concedes most of the shots he takes on target. The problem comes with the people in the bottom left-hand corner. This is where you look at the goalkeepers and think, these are not so good. These are goalkeepers that you look at and think, things need to change. Now, there is a defence of these goalkeepers, which we'll go into. I've got one more graph to show you, but there is a defence of these goalkeepers. The people in the bottom left-hand corner, these are goalkeepers whose defence is pretty strong, who don't concede many shots per game, but when the opposition shoots, they score most of the time. So you've got Sassuolo's Andrea Consigli. Not many shots on Sassuolo's goal. They've got a good defence, but he concedes most of the time. He's got a save percentage of just over 50%. Gavin Bazunu is in there as well. Girona's keeper's in there. Frankfurt's keeper. AC Milan's keeper's in there, but I think it's... excuse me. I don't believe it's Mike Maignan. He's not played this season. It's Taras Saniu or whatever. I think he's Romanian or something like that. That is him. Mine's his keeper. Fiorentina's keeper. And then you see the man I'm pretty worried about. You can see in that circle there, his save percentage is even lower now. So his save percentage, I think at the moment, is just over 50%. But at the time of this graph, which is a few games ago, Ederson is in there. So Ederson, City's defence is strong. He doesn't have many shots on him, but when they shoot, they score. Ederson is in with Gavin Bazunu, Consigli, Fiorentina's keeper. I mean, that's worse than Mark Travers. Mark Travers' save percentage is very poor, but he faces a lot of shots. Ederson doesn't face a lot of shots. Really low amount of shots, and he doesn't save them either. So you're looking at that, and that worried me. That really, really, really worried me as a City fan, seeing that. To say, listen, he's hardly ever called into action, and when he is, he's not there. That is something that's going to cost City, surely in the long run. In the Champions League, we need a goalkeeper that will pull out the saves. You think about the last year's Champions League final. Thibaut Courtois How many saves did he make to keep Real Madrid in that game? That's the sort of goalkeeper City need. In Ederson, we haven't got that. But in Ederson's defence, that doesn't explain what the quality of shots are, does it? So, for example, Consigli might concede lots of shots when they shoot on target, and Ederson might as well. But you'd say, well, the way City play, the high line, expansive football, when Ederson concedes shots, they're like a one-on-one, or they're a shot that is really hard to save. Whereas maybe Consigli, it's not a hard shot to save, it's a strike from distance that goes in. So maybe we're being a bit harsh on Ederson, because maybe it isn't to do with the fact that, yes, he doesn't have many shots on target, and he doesn't save them when they are on target, but to be fair, they're very difficult shots to save. Well, I've got one more graph for you guys to see, and I think this one's pretty damning in the sense of that. So this is the last and final graph I want to show you guys today that I thought I had to show you guys, which is non-penalty XG. So it's got expected goals that aren't from the penalty spot versus post-shot XG difference. So the best way I can explain it is the left-hand side, or the people on the left-hand side, they don't have a lot of high-quality shots on them. So the shots that are on their goal are pretty poor shots in terms of quality. They're not a one-on-one. They're not an expected goal. And the keeper doesn't save it anyway. On the right-hand side, that is goalkeepers that face, goals, more expected goals to be scored, but make the saves. But, they make the save. They actually made a pretty impressive save. And then we'll split it into the two sides again. So the top right-hand side, and you can see two players in there, they prevent goals massively. Okay? And the people in the bottom left-hand side, they're terrible. That's the best way to describe it. So, once again, Bournemouth goalkeeper Mark Travers in this bottom left-hand side. There's not good shots from Mark Travers, and he doesn't save them anyway. So, they're not even a high-quality shot, but he still can't save them. The top right, you've got Ederson and Kepa Arrizabalaga. They have both prevented 8 goals over the expectation. So, 8 certain goals Ederson and Kepa have saved it. Now, Kepa's got a mistake in him. Ederson as well. But you're talking about 2 goalkeepers there that are preventing 8 goals a season. 8 goals so far this season. That is incredible. That is absolutely incredible. They face high-quality shots, and they also perform well to the high-quality shots. The people a bit further down on the right-hand side, the bottom, they face a lot of high-quality shots, but don't save them as often. So you've got Pau Lopez in there, again, of Marseille, who's a very big surprise, actually. He wasn't rated at Roma. Nick Pope's in there as well. But look, the main issue I have with this is, look on the left-hand side. You've got Rui Patricio. You say they're pretty bad. You've got Getafe's keeper, Real Madrid. Thibaut Courtois doesn't do so well. But they're not far ahead. In bad territory is Ederson, isn't it? So Ederson, he's got a terrible save percentage. He doesn't save enough shots. And when the opposition doesn't have many shots on target at Manchester City, but when they do, they will score. Are they high-quality shots? Well, yes, they are. But most of the time, they're not. They're in the lower quality shot. And Ederson doesn't save it. And I think that is the most damning statistic of it all, isn't it, for Ederson? That there's not many shots at Manchester City's goal, and when they're on target, they go in. But also, it's not like it's always a high-quality shot. Ederson isn't saving the simple saves either. He isn't making the saves that he should be making. And you've got goalkeepers like Ederson and Kepa Arrizabalaga who are saving way more than expected. And that's a big difference, isn't it? If you watched Liverpool against Newcastle the other night, Liverpool could have been 2-3-0 down perhaps at times. Ederson kept them in the game, and I just think into the latter stage of the Champions League, Manchester City will never win the Champions League with Ederson in goal. That is the conclusion I've come to. 62% of you guys believe Ortega should start against Leipzig. It's very split, isn't it? And I hope these statistics have given you an impartial view of the realism and the realistic scenario that Ederson is in. I'm not someone to single out a Manchester City player and say, do not play that player, he's not good, bench him, get rid of him. I'm not that sort of person. I don't intend to do that. But looking at the statistics here, when I saw them, I decided not to share them, but now I've decided it is the time to share them. These statistics do not look good for Ederson, and I'm pretty sure Manchester City's statistical guys, the people scouting the players, the people looking at the performance, the player performance analysis, must look at these Ederson stats and say, listen, we've got a problem here. And I think he'll probably be given another season, Ederson. I don't think he's going anywhere anytime soon. But I think next season, if Ederson's performing like this, he's not performing at the level of a top 5 goalkeeper in the Premier League. He is performing like a mid-table goalkeeper. And that is not what Manchester City need. We need somebody who's going to pull off the big saves. We saw Ortega come in against Chelsea, didn't we? In the Carabao Cup and play really well. Yes, he had a bit of a poor performance in that one against Southampton. But I just think these statistics don't tell the story about Ortega. I haven't got Ortega's statistics, so I don't know. Ashton there saying it's time to buy Adrian. Yeah, I mean, Adrian's stats, he's not on here because he didn't start for Liverpool. But I suspect he's even further down, Adrian. But what I'm saying is, these statistics are really worrying for Ederson. They really are, because you look at this and you think, you know what? Manchester City have a goalkeeping issue. There is no way around it. Manchester City have a certain goalkeeping issue where we've got a goalkeeper who is subpar, who is not saving shots on target. He's not saving high-quality shots either. And I had to put this out here. I had to show you guys these statistics, especially after we saw that the last 4 games for Manchester City in a row, we've conceded our first shot on target. And is it a defence problem? I don't think it is. These stats say that we don't concede many shots. Is it a goalkeeper problem? I think it just might be. I think it just might be. That is all I've got for you guys today. The vote has gone down all the way to 53% now, so I think it's very 50-50 with you guys. Hopefully you can see the full video, watch the whole video in its entirety, and look at these stats that are presented and say, you know what? You know, it's not even on paper Ederson looked bad in statistical-wise. I think watching the game, the eye test, he's not looking great either. Thank you very much for watching this video. I hope you have liked this little video I've done. Please like the video if you have. You don't have to watch this live. You can watch these videos after as well, so you can look at these Ederson statistics, and hopefully a lot of people it just opens their eyes a little bit to the situation perhaps Manchester City are in with Ederson, and whether it's time for Ortega to take over. Please do subscribe to the channel if you are new. That's been great. We're building up the subscribers slowly by slowly, but it continues to grow this channel. And thank you very much to everyone to be here. Ederson should move to Bournemouth and with Travers, says Ashton. Well, Neto plays for Bournemouth. I don't think Neto played so many games at the time of this graph going out, and that's why Travers is in there. So I think that's why the way it is. But I mean, Travers is really bad, really bad. I don't think Bazunu is performing very well either. He's another one that City fans thought he was quite good. He's not looking good either. But Ederson is pretty far down there, and I think we do need to start looking for a better goalkeeper. I mean, my picks, Paul Lopez of Marseille has really, really surprised me in the statistics. I think he's an option. But today isn't to talk about goalkeepers to replace Ederson. Yasin Bunu of Sevilla statistically looks quite good. David Raya of Brentford, but he doesn't really have the same, you know, shot-stopping ability that maybe we'd want from a goalkeeper. It's all up in the air, isn't it? And I think this is something to talk about in the future. We might do another live stream on Thursday because Manchester City are linked with Mason Mount and Neymar. Who would you choose? Maybe that's something we talk about a little live stream on Thursday. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you guys tomorrow for Manchester City versus RB Leipzig. We get to see City face Leipzig again in the Champions League. Seems like they faced them a lot, with no Kevin De Bruyne and no Aymeric Laporte, both out injured. Thank you for joining us on the live stream. Thank you for watching if you're watching right now. Do like the video, and we'll see you guys next time.